international French success. Pascal Gauthier is in, so I think it's a good sign.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
So if you have any questions, we take them. So okay, let's start from we'll go from the rows.
Hi, Eric. So congrats for the fundraising.
Thank you.
I have a question because you talked earlier about the fact that you can go outside with your ledger and make payments. Right now, what's the best strategy to make the cryptocurrencies being an element of our daily life? Is it by equipping the retail stores of systems that accept your ledgers in terms of mean of payments? Or is it by creating an intermediary system that provides you a credit card that connects to your wallet or something like that and make payments?
Well, first of all, we need to have a crypto which can act as a real, let's say, payment system. Bitcoin today, obviously, is not yet a payment system. So it's a little bit, I think, too soon. Of course, you could use maybe Bitcoin Cash or other cryptos. But we do have the technology to do NFC payments with point of sales, closed-looped payments in crypto. We try to work with big names in these companies, in this technology, but it's too soon. So I think to see the adoption, it's a little bit the chicken and egg. But before we see crypto in a day-to-day life where you can buy everything in crypto, I think first we need to scale cryptocurrencies in general. So I'm not going to enter in the debate of the block size, etc. But it's today it's too soon. So my prediction is that it's going at least to take a few years before we go to that, because right now, obviously, crypto is about reserve of value or speculations or censorship resistance, but not really day-to-day cash payments.
But you realize that you are the basis of the infrastructure of this future of mean of payments.
Yes, and we do have all the technology to deploy it. And maybe one day the fact that we deploy it maybe will help to go there, but it will not be on 2018.
Actually, I have questions. Like, don't you want to tokenize like some part of your equity so that we can participate in the success of Ledger?
So quickly on that, because all the VCs ask us why we didn't do an ICO. The ICO is the end of the road, because when you do an ICO, after it's over, you just have raised all the monies that you can use for your project. And what we want to do with Ledger is a big technological company, and we cannot achieve that through ICO. We have a few equity story again to do. However, if one day we are going to IPO, we may do a tokenizing, but it will not be an ICO. It will be much better than that, but it will maybe two years.
Okay, cool.
Thanks for your talk. One quick question about the Ledger technology. If I own Bitcoins on the Ledger, and I suppose your servers are synchronizing with the blockchain every seconds to maintain every transaction. What happens if your servers go down and my Bitcoins or my crypto assets are on the Ledger? How can I use them?
Yeah, so what you have on your Ledger device is the private key, which basically is the bearer bond of the cryptocurrencies. We are providing with an infrastructure to give you an access to your balance, accounts, transactions. If Ledger is wiped by atomic blast, then as long as you have your 24 hours, you will always be able to recover your crypto in any other wallet. So we are just providing a service, but we do not bear any fiduciary responsibility. So Ledger doesn't have any access to your money, and at any time you can get rid of Ledger and keep your cryptocurrencies, which is a very important fact.
So you've said things about your plans on integrating with decentralized exchanges, but as you said yourself, that there are, as of today, a lot of problems with scalability and whatnot, so it might take a few years before we really are able to use these exchanges at par. So do you have any plans as far as integrating your technology with decentralized exchanges today, which take most of the volume?
Well, today the issue is that we cannot trust the vault, where basically we could issue a cryptographic proof that all the assets are, let's say, given to the exchange without moving them. But otherwise, with a device, you cannot do that because you cannot give the proof that you do not have access to the 24 words, and then you could just move them to another part. So like that, unfortunately, it's not possible. Many exchanges have asked us how you could just trade from your ledger, because they don't want to keep all the Bitcoin and the billions in value, because it's only a cost and risk. But unfortunately, right now, there is no solutions to do that.
Hi, Eric. I'm one of those customers who, at a conference many years ago, got his first ledger for free, and now I'm an addict. I keep on trying. I need my next ledger all the time. So I got two questions as a customer. One is, when or do you have any plans to make it easier to store the 24-word seed? And the second is, are there thoughts around an integration with Lightning Network?
Yeah, so about the Lightning Network, we are working with a company with A5, who have first integration of the Lightning Network, and they are working with the Nano S, with our devices. So we still have some work to do, but we plan to do a first publication when it will be ready. So yes, we are working with first implementation of the Lightning Network, and we will be among the first to propose an implementation with a hardware wallet. Regarding the security of the 24 words, which is very important, so there are two solutions on that. The first is that we are going to provide with crypto steel solution. So instead of writing on a paper, you will just put your 24 words on metal that cannot burn, that cannot get wet, etc. So you have a much better physical security. So we had the first batch of 1,000 units, but it got sold in one day. So we had to really to ramp up the production, and we hope to have some solutions in the coming months. And the second aspect is how we can really secure the seed, the 24 words, with governance and a plan for, let's say, eternity, in the sense of what happens if you die, what happens if something bad happens to you. So on that, we have a few internal projects with notaries or other institutions who will be the bearer of some parts of the backup. So we do have some plans to work on a real global solutions to be able to provide with backup and governance, because this is going to be one of the biggest problem or biggest question to come is how do you make sure that your crypto comes to your next of kin if you die or something bad happened to you. And this could be just one startup or few startups could work on that, because it's already a big question. It's going to be even bigger.
Hi, thank you for all the talk. It's really inspiring. I love your product, and I love Ledger because it's great for security. However, in terms of privacy, which is another aspect that is important to some Bitcoin users and cryptocurrency users, I'm curious how Ledger manages that, because as it is, if I'm correct, each time I use the app on my laptop, I query your server, so you can, in principle, know how much I have, my IP, and maybe part of my identity. So I'm curious how you manage that, and if you ever had encounters or requests from governments or entities talking to you about regulation and how you can identify cryptocurrency holders.
So first of all, we do not track. What you said is true. We have an infrastructure, and basically you go through our servers to query the blockchain. So we could keep the XPub, and we could do some statistics, etc. But we do not track anything. We do not have any logs. And part of our privacy policy and implementation of the infrastructure is also to demonstrate this fact, because we do not have anything to gain to keep information. We do not want to keep any information. We are certainly not required to keep any information. No one has asked ever any information. Maybe one day people will ask information, so it's better if we don't have any. And in any case, for the people who really want to make sure that nothing can go out, you will still have the possibility to use the device with your own infrastructure. We are going to provide, not now, but hopefully soon, in fact, possibility to deploy your own infrastructure in the cloud using packages with your own API or to point on your own nodes. Or you can use solutions like Electrum or others, but it's only for Bitcoin. Privacy is very important. We understand that most of the crypto users wants to have the best privacy, so we will provide with the tools to achieve that. And in any case, we do not keep any logs because we do not need them. It does not make sense for us.
Hi, Eric again. What is in your view, good regulation, public regulation that would make your business sustainable in the long run between the two extremes that could happen, like really restrictive regulation that could make the market collapse, or on the other side, really ultra-liberal governments doing nothing, which could lead to higher prices and eventually be not good for your business in the long run because the bubble will burst later or something?
So there is not an easy answer on that because I'm not sure there is any good answers. What the regulator is really trying to do is to protect the public. That's really so most of the regulator is afraid of crypto because it may burst, and after people will come to regulator and say, what have you done for me? You have done nothing, and it's not good for politics, it's not good for re-election. So this is the mission of the regulator. Today, I don't think that any regulator is afraid about Bitcoin destroying, the euro or the dollar. So it's not at all really what they are afraid of. It's about protection of the people, let's say. That's why you do not have any ETFs. That's why you do not have all these instruments to manipulate assets, crypto assets. So I think that regulation is important for that, and we will need regulation to be able to have an environment where you can create enterprise and you can develop the business. Because indeed, if you do not have any regulation at all, then banks don't work with startups, so you cannot create business. Taxation may be completely crazy, so people are going to move out. So we need some regulation, and then it has to be regulation based on logic, which is not all the time easy. And also today, I think the biggest hurdle regarding regulation is that no one can really put crypto assets in the right space. I mean, is it a tender? Is it some property, etc., etc.? So what I know is that we need some regulation, but what I know also it's going to take time, a lot of time, and we will see how they are going to take it, especially that we have so many different geographies. I think we are going to speak about regulation for a while, because it's not an easy question. So I don't have a very intelligent answer to provide, but it's a tough subject. The positive thing is that we see some progress in the sense that now regulators are really having a look. And I mean, smart people are working on it. So that we see some progress, and something is going to happen. When, I don't know, but.
Thank you for the presentation. I've seen that you are a great poker player, and congratulations for the biggest deal of your life.
Thank you.
And more seriously, I get a question about the Bitcoin and the market. Do you think that it's like an internet bubble burst in the 2000, that we are too much in advance to get to see big moves with the blockchain? And for now, you can't see any companies with a good blockchain products for the retail or the everyday life business. And we have to know the same correction as the 2000 to have a new how can I say, un marché plus sain qui pourrait permettre des healthy market. Thank you. Et des meilleures évolutions.
It's a good question, and we had the question, when you asked to raise $75 million, they ask you, okay, is it a bubble? So, in fact, yeah, it may be a bubble because it's very difficult to say, but in the same time, it's a change of paradigm, and it's very difficult to see if all the variations, the up and downs, are really linked only to pure speculation and pure folly, pure craziness, or if it's related to something more profound. And all the VCs who are believing in Bitcoin, let's say in the technology, they are believing in the long term. We may see another nuclear winter of 1 year, 2 years, with going maybe to wipe out a part of the ecosystem. It's not impossible. Maybe it will be now. Maybe it will be in 2 or 3 years. It's impossible to tell. But what we all know, and I think what we all believe, is that it's a technology which is going to stay, and that it's not going to get wiped out. So maybe we will see a correction, maybe not. Again, I don't have an intelligent answer to make, but it's something that we have all accepted, that maybe we will see the correction, or maybe the bubble has burst in 2013 already, you know, so it's very hard to say.
Last question.
Hello. I have one question before I hand you my resume, which is, as your company is all about security, I'm not sure it's relevant, but how do you think about the evolutions into quantum computers and everything, how it could affect security?
Well, quantum computing is going to affect some parts of the cryptography, but it is not going to affect, from what I know, I'm not an expert in quantum computing, but it's not going to affect all the cryptography related to Bitcoin, because it has multiple hash, and the elliptic curves are not really, let's say, I think, sensitive to what we are developing right now. So if one day, I mean, what we are looking for when we are doing security, it's more about fault injections, observation of the chips and all IT vulnerabilities, etc. Quantum computing is something that could affect everything and nothing. And if one day we think that quantum computing is going to destroy the cryptography as we know it, we will move to quantum-resistant cryptography. It's such things exist, but it's not affecting us in the short term or even in the long term. So I don't think that everyone, there are many things who can be a problem for Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies. I don't think that quantum computing is one.
So will you take his resume?
I'll take the resume after.
Eric, thank you so much
for
being here tonight. So this is a meetup that we will try to organize on a very regular basis. So I'm in love with the crypto is the name of the series. And for the first edition, we're super happy to receive Eric Larchevêque, CEO of Ledger. Big round of applause for him. So thank you, Eric, very much for being here tonight. So maybe my first question, like, who in the audience doesn't know what Ledger is doing? For you, we're going to explain what Ledger is doing.
Okay. Hello, everyone. Well, Ledger, we are a French startup, or now a scale-up, we should say. We are providing security solutions for crypto assets. So just to do a very quick pitch, when you own cryptocurrencies, what you really own are private keys, which are a critical piece of information. Whoever has access to this information controls the assets. And you need this information to sign transactions. So you need to have this information on a computer. If you keep these private keys on your PC, your Mac, your iPhone, it's just a question of time before it's going to get stolen, compromised. It will be the same thing that if you buy gold and you keep gold on your chimney. You can do it. Maybe some people are doing it, but it doesn't scale. So we are providing what we call a hardware wallet, which is a small device. Okay, I have one here. Well, it's too firmly attached to me here. So it looks like a USB key, but in fact, it is architectured around a secure element, the same chip that you will find in a smart card, like a chip and pin credit card, and it's going to keep your private key in isolation. The idea is that this critical piece of information will always stay offline, always keep inside the secure environment of the secure element. And you connect to a computer. On your computer, you have the interface. You say, okay, I want to make a payment. The device will sign the transaction. You will review on the device, and therefore your private key will never be online. So it was a long introduction, but now you know everything about cryptocurrency security.
Perfect. So let's get back to the beginnings, because like last week and the week before you announced like crazy milestones. So first one, like the biggest one, probably like 1 million units sold, which is insane. And then just to follow up with that, you then announced, hey, by the way, let's announce a $75 million fundraising. So it looks like everything's going pretty well.
Yes.
So let's get back to what it was not working well. So first, how did you start? Like it's made in Vierzon, as it says on the website. So really?
Yeah. How did the adventure start? So just my background, I'm an engineer in microelectronics, but I have always been an entrepreneur. I made my first company in '96, so I have done a few. And in 2013, I did a price comparison engine, which was named Prixing, just to compare prices in supermarkets. So we sold the product, not the company, but the product. So we had some money in the company, and so we had to find a new project. At this time, it was in 2013, I discovered Bitcoin. And I was struck by the technology. I spent a week reading everything I could about the blockchain, Bitcoin, the protocol, and I was sure that it was the fourth industrial revolution, that it would change everything in the same way than in '96. I have seen internet changing everything. And for me, I was sure I had to do something in the space. The only thing is I had no idea of what to do, because it's like saying, okay, I will do a startup, in IT. You have so many things to do, and if you don't know exactly, well, you don't have an idea. So, we decided with Thomas, who was my co-founder at the time, to do something very horizontal. As we didn't know exactly what to do, we said, okay, let's do something that will place us into the ecosystem, and we will see what will happen. And so in 2014, we opened La Maison du Bitcoin, the House of Bitcoin, which is a physical space not far in the deuxième arrondissement, where the idea was just to be able to buy, sell Bitcoin. It was the only crypto at the time, and also have some information about blockchain technology, etc. It was just an idea for us to start to do something, to do some first meetups, to do hackathon. We didn't have any business model, because at the time selling crypto trading, it wasn't big enough to make any money. And so no one understood what we were doing. All the people who were entering the place were saying, are you funded by la mairie de Paris, by the city? What's your business model? We were just facing Numa, so they were thinking we were from Numa as well. So no one really understood what was the idea behind La Maison du Bitcoin. I think us neither. We didn't really have a plan. We were just hoping that something will happen, really. That was the pitch. And something did happen, because by doing all these meetups, the hackathons and everything, in fact, we have seen many different startups, many different people who are working in the field, and we have crossed the path of two specific startups. The first one was BTC, from Nicolas Bacca, who is now our CTO. And he was coming from the world of smart card, from secure chips. And he had been designing the first hardware wallet in the world, because he started in 2012. But it was extremely complex, impossible to use, even worse than what we are doing now, and so it was very technical, but not usable in the real world. And there was another company named Chronocoin, who was from Vierzon, and I will come back to Vierzon later. Thanks. And they were working with Nicolas, with BTC, and they built the first product with their technology. What Chronocoin was doing was to sell Bitcoin through UPS. And to avoid chargebacks, because they were accepting a credit card, they were sending the Bitcoin through UPS with a verified signature, etc. So it was a way to sell cryptocurrencies and avoiding the biggest problem of the credit card, which is chargeback. And so they needed to have a media to send the Bitcoins. In the beginning, they were using USB keys with the private keys, but it wasn't very secure. It was sending cash. And so they started to work with BTC, having the first version of the hardware wallet. And I saw these two companies working together, moving fast, and we started to discuss, and we quickly shared the same vision that cryptocurrencies we tried to work with big names in these companies. It was the end of 2014. But they were looking to raise some funds, I think, to see the adoption. It's a little bit basically, we just sat in the same room, and in 2 hours we decided to merge our 3 startups, where you can buy everything in crypto. So end of 2014, we need to scale cryptocurrencies in general. You know, when you merge 3 companies with 3 CEOs, etc., but all have to find their places. Today, it's usually it doesn't work, or it's rare to work, but it's going. Ledger, part of the magic is that it worked very well. And so we raised the first round.
So it was not a joke, it worked very well, everybody found his place.
Yeah, no, exactly. And so we were able to raise the first round in early 2015 with Xange, and also Pascal Gauthier, who came as business angel, and Frédéric Potter from Netatmo. It wasn't easy to raise the round because no one understood about Bitcoin. No one wanted to invest into Bitcoin. It was really not something that the VCs really liked. But they placed a bet on the team because we had a good technology with the smart card industry. And just to conclude on Vierzon, because you asked me the question, in fact, I'm originally from Vierzon, from my father's family. So Vierzon, it's the Berry in the center of France. It's nowhere, basically. And so it was very funny to find someone who was working in Bitcoin and who came from this city. And so when we merged, we kept the offices in Vierzon, which today makes even more sense because we have an industrial part with production, shipping, facilities, etc. But at the time, we decided to keep, and we were so proud of Vierzon that we put on all our packaging, Paris, Vierzon, San Francisco. And so it's very, at the beginning it was very funny, but now, you know, in Vierzon, for them it's the capital of the crypto world, because we have 50 employees there, and it's a city where you do not find easily some jobs. So it's like a big thing, this Ledger thing. So yeah, now they want to be the crypto capital of the world, which is quite funny because it was a communist city, but now it looks like they are very crypto, you know.
Very cool. And so then how did it started? Like immediately units sold all over the world, right?
Well, not really. In fact, so we started really to launch our product in early 2015. We managed to do the first round, which has been very difficult. At some point, we thought that we would never manage to do it, but at the end, Xange and Cyril Bertrand, the partner, just decided, okay, let's do it. And so they led the round, and in extremis. And after, so we sent Thomas to San Francisco, because if you want to be a crypto company, you have to be in San Francisco, at least at the time. This is where all the action about crypto, about Bitcoin was happening. And I guess at the beginning we were maybe selling a few units per day. It wasn't crazy. And for a while, in fact, we went into what we call the nuclear winter of crypto. Because just after raising the funds, Bitcoin wasn't very well, and it even tanked even lower. And in 2015, nothing really happened. And 2016 has been the worst year of all because it was the year of the blockchain. You know, if everyone can remember, it was the year of like Bitcoin is dead, but the blockchain technology is so nice. You know, right. And so we had to adapt our business model to go into the world of POCs, working with banks, insurance, about things that does not make a lot of sense at the time. And we weren't going, in fact, we were going nowhere. because the sales of the devices wasn't going so good. It was a small, good business, but no traction, nothing. And this is at this time that we decided to do our Series A, because we were running out of money, just simply. And so we had to find some money.
So yeah, I heard some rumors about the Series A that it was not very easy to raise some money at that time.
Yeah, I think we have seen about 60 VCs, mostly in France and in Paris and in London. It was horrible because, in fact, we couldn't pitch about Bitcoin. We couldn't explain the hardware wallet, because if you speak about hardware wallet security for Bitcoin, they will say, okay, but Bitcoin is dead. Why do you speak about Bitcoin? So we say, okay, but we have the blockchain technology. And then we were explaining how the blockchain was going to change the world in 10 years, you know, with connected vehicles, buying electricity in the smart city. Which, why not? But the time to market wasn't there. So it was about maybe revenues in 5 years, 10 years. It wasn't very sexy, it was very hard. And so obviously no one wanted to invest. And we had, in fact, one VC, with a very specific VC, who believed into the technology, and let's say what they wanted to do is to have a front in the seat row to understand what was going. And it was not about making money. So it was Maïf Avenir. And so they really wanted to understand the blockchain technology, what we could do with insurance, banks. And so they led the round. It was a round of about 7 million euros, which helped us tremendously to save. It saved the company. But it was really on the blockchain vision. So at the end, we managed in extremis again to raise some money. And we closed the round in March 2017, and it was the beginning of what we could call the big change, where crypto started, you know, to move, and the price started a little bit to change, and also, of course, the sales of our products, for some reason, started, you know, to
ramp up.
Yeah, to ramp up. And instantly after we closed the round, or a few weeks after, the company completely changed, and all the blockchain revolution went to to the garbage, and we focused on Bitcoin and and crypto maximalism, because the market became real. And that's why, in fact, Maïf decided to sell their share from Ledger, because, in fact, we sold them something about the blockchain and blockchain for insurance, blockchain for banks. And 3 months after, we were everything about Bitcoin, ICOs, crypto, and it wasn't very a good environment for Maïf. And so they preferred to sell their shares, and that's why they went out of the... and so they did a nice profit.
They stayed only a couple of months.
Yeah, they stayed a couple of months, but for them... In fact, we sold them something about the blockchain and blockchain for insurance, blockchain for banks. And 3 months after, we were everything about